So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Buy bread, fresh bread, hot agege bread. That was what Olajumoke had to do to provide for herself and cater to her two little children back in 2016. A big tray of some kind of white sweet yeasted bread, commonly called agege bread, on her head. She would walk miles under the sun and in the rain, hawking her wares while screaming at the top of her lungs in advertisements. Buy agege bread. 35-year-old Olajumoke was born and brought up in Ire in Osun State, southwestern part of Nigeria. She came from a very impoverished background. She had no education at all. She couldn't even speak the commonly spoken vernacular, the broken English, the pidgin English. All she could communicate in was her local dialect, Yoruba. She had to learn hairdressing at a very young age in order to care for herself and assist her family. While training as a hairdresser, Jumoke met a handyman, an artisan called Sunday, and shortly after meeting, there began a romantic relationship. When Jumoke's family got wind of the fact that she was seeing Sunday, they vehemently kicked against it. It was a small community, and most people's reputations far preceded them. Her mother in particular knew that Sunday was not a good person and will not make a good husband. Olajumoke's aunt had to beat up Jumoke herself, physically pulled her away, dragged her out from seeing Sunday. But just like most young people blinded by love, she could not see reason. Jumoke immediately got pregnant for him, and without any form of marriage, commitment or dowry, moved in with him, despite her family's refusal to endorse their relationship. So at this point, with the pregnancy and the baby and all of that, what more could they do? They let her be. Sunday was a laborer whose labor was sought to fix windows and doors in construction sites for a daily pay. If you live in Nigeria and you know these kinds of jobs, you would attest to the fact that they are very irregular. So most times, he would stay idle for long periods awaiting job. Sunday didn't have reasonable finances coming in. He didn't have a stable and secure means of survival. So he lived with his mother in their family house. And it was this family house that Olajumoke moved into. Olajumoke hadn't even finished unpacking her bags, her belongings, when the hostility and the cruelty began from Sunday's family, especially his mother. Her mother-in-law despised her very guts and would complain and pick faults at every little single thing she did. Well, we can't even call her mother-in-law because no marriage existed. So maybe we will just rephrase and say her baby daddy's mother. She couldn't please her. She made Olajumoke's life a living hell. By now, Olajumoke had brought 2 kids for this man. Now, aside from being financially unstable and violent, Sunday was also a chronic mommy's boy. What a recipe for catastrophe. The very bad kind. The type whose mother would say, jump, and he would say, how high? So anytime he got back from this his laborer's job, his mother would be at the door waiting for him to report Olajumoke that either she has done this or didn't do this or said this or didn't say this. And without question, without asking to hear her side of the story, without granting her fair hearing, a listening ear, he would pull out his belt and descend terribly on her. He would whip her and beat her and flog her to the extent that the belt will get spoiled, it will get pieces, and then he would resort to using his fists, his hands, and his legs. Oh, he would beat her ceaselessly, almost to a comatose on several occasions. She had wounds and sores all over her body, and her face would be so swollen that she would go unrecognizable. She resorted to putting on long-sleeve blouses in order to conceal her injuries and her scars.
Kò ní gbọ́ tẹnu tèmi kémi sọ̀rọ̀, ó máa nà mí, tó máa nà mí tẹ́ pé gbára mi báyìí yóò máa tó máa ga fún ẹgbàá láì pé yẹn na baby ìgbà mi máa lé bet tó máa lé gidi máa mú mọ́ra mi níjẹ́ kí mọ́ sí mi nínà náà kò ń ṣe kíní kò ń ṣe kejì mi ò lè kà tẹ́ gbogbo ara mi máa wá tó máa ga báyìí tó máa wú báyìí tó máa nà mí bíi pé baby tẹ́ pé time yẹn tó bá nà mí ní wọ aṣọ tí apá rẹ̀ kéré máa wọ.
At the point when it was so unbearable, she tried opening up to her mother, telling her that this Sunday wants to use beating to kill me. But her mom said that she doesn't know what she's talking about. That did she marry her off to anybody? Did I give you out in marriage to any man? We warned you, you didn't listen. And so OLAJUMOKE kept quiet and never spoke about the abuse anymore. She was naturally a very timid, naive and withdrawn person. She never opened up to any other person about it. She just continued taking the never-ending beatings in good faith and accepted it as her destiny. But there is only so much that anyone can ever take. At the point, she realized that if she kept staying with that man, she will literally die and her children will suffer. So on this note, she packed her things, packed her children, and left Sunday's house, moving away from Osun State and relocating to Lagos, to the city, to hustle and run away from a relationship that was about to take her life. While in Lagos, OLAJUMOKE camped at the side of a bakery that her friend in Osun State had introduced her to. She took to making a living from hawking agege bread around Oladiro Estate. Many times, the young ladies that engage in this business of hawking bread hardly even have capital to start. Many times they have to take the bread on credit, sell, and then return and take another one. So Jumoke started running 2 shifts daily. She would be up as early as 5 a.m., take the first round of bread, hawk it, and when she's done selling it, she will return to the bakery, take the second batch around 2 p.m. and hawk it till evening. That was the only way she could survive with 2 children, as the proceeds from 1 round was barely enough to carry her responsibilities. Besides, the father of her children was not being financially responsible for them. He wasn't even asking about them. So she had to work super and extra hard. On this eventful day in January of 2016, OLAJUMOKE's day started like every other day. Only that this time, the bakery hadn't finished baking bread early that day. Bread came out late. So by the time she got her stock ready to hit the streets to hawk, she was already running late. Oh, my customers will be waiting. Oh my God, please let them not buy bread from somebody else. So she was rushing to meet up with her customers when she sighted a group of people taking pictures on the streets. Her consciousness didn't even pay any mind to them. She didn't even act like they existed. She was rushing somewhere. She needed to deliver her bread. So while the photographer was there taking pictures and doing her thing, OLAJUMOKE just passed in a hurry, anxious to go and sell her market. And as she did, some crew members scolded her, "Go out of the way now, But that was the only path to her destination. So she just walked without even paying them any mind. Now, as fate would have it, the photographer had mistakenly captured OLAJUMOKE in the background of one of the pictures. OLAJUMOKE moved on and continued selling her bread for the day, while the photographer continued with the photo shoot. Little did anybody know that somebody's life, destiny, and fate was about to change in an instant. This photo shoot was one with British rapper Tini Temper. He was getting photographed by legendary Nigerian photographer T.Y. Bello. He was in Nigeria and he wanted to do a street-themed photo shoot. And that was why they used the open space on the streets of Lagos so they could get that street feel. So as T.Y. Bello settled in later on to review, select and edit the pictures, she was struck by one picture in particular. The one that the Agege bread seller stumbled into. She was like, wait a minute. This picture is perfection. A masterpiece. There in the background was this beautiful, tall and slender lady, looking like someone that just walked out of Cosmopolitan magazine, elegant in her red dress, while the rapper Tini stared at her. It looked so natural. It looked so planned. It looked so ordained. And the Agege bread in the picture now gave it the whole local homeland Lagos theme that they were looking for. It was the perfect picture. And so T.Y. Bello uploaded that photograph to social media and everybody felt the same way. They were like, who is that model at the back looking so elegant? She became the focus of the photograph. Not even the superstar, the British rapper. She became the most admired part of that photo shoot. And then T.Y. Bello posted asking that people should please find Olajumoke for her. And so people started looking for Olajumoke. The next day, oh my God, fate. The next day, Olajumoke went back to the bakery for her usual pickup to start hawking. She was putting on the same dress from the previous day. And then someone walked up to her and said, are you aware that one person, T.Y. Bello, is looking for you? When she heard this, her heart skipped. She thought that she had gotten into trouble. They explained to her that no, it was for a good cause. She was looking for her because she appeared in a photograph and she wanted to know her better. And so Jumoke, with her baby strapped to her back, was taken to T.Y. Bello's house, who coincidentally resided at that estate where the photo shoot took place. When she got to T.Y. Bello's house, T.Y. Bello embraced her, welcomed her, gave her a meal to eat, and then opened discussions with her. Told her that you look like a model. But Jumoke didn't even know what model was. Model? Which one be model? T.Y. Bello had to take out the time to explain to her what it meant and told her the opportunities that could lay in store for her if she was interested. And she said yes. She was interested. Now, T.Y. Bello, you would admit, is a very responsible human being. Even till present day, she has managed to keep her name and herself away from smear and public disgrace. So as a decent woman, the next question she asked Olajumoke was, are you married? Because you know how Nigerian men can be with modeling. Before the man will come out now and start granting interview that T.Y. Bello has forced his wife into prostitution and runs, she needed to know, are you married? So we can also seek your husband's opinion and his consent on this new opportunity that is about to be availed to you. At this point, a life-changing decision was about to be made. Olajumoke could have just said the truth and said no, because in fact, she was not married to Sunday. She was just a single mother to him, to a man that didn't give two F's about her. But for God knows why. Maybe illiteracy, maybe timidity, maybe ignorance, maybe Stockholm syndrome. Maybe you need to be validated, but for some reason, Olajumoke said yes, that she is married. And so T.Y. Bello said that she needed the permission of her husband, his consent, that he needed to be in agreement before they started anything. And so Sunday came all the way from Osun State, and he stood beside Olajumoke and assumed the position of Odogwu to her. What happened in Olajumoke's life was completely unprecedented. This was no rise to stardom. This was an appearance in stardom. Like she just opened her eyes and appeared as a star. Olajumoke became a celebrity overnight. In the history of celebrity status in Nigeria, we had never seen anything like that. It was unreal. Jumoke, the poor wretched bread seller yesterday became a big brand overnight, a force to reckon with right in the twinkle of an eye. T.Y. Bello immediately took her to a modeling agency to train and prep her, and the second that this story hit social media, the brand deals began pouring in. Everybody wanted to work with Jumoke, wanted to affiliate with her, wanted her at their events. T.Y. Bello arranged for OLAJUMOKE's pictures to grace the This Day Style magazine, and there she was looking like a supermodel. She began bagging major deals with big brands, Salma Gazelle, Paypots, she ran confectionaries, Zenith Bakery, Stanbic IBTC Bank awarded her kids scholarship free education to university level. Sujimoto leased her a brand new furnished apartment in a place of her choice, which she chose Surulere. He paid 5 years rent in advance and placed her on a monthly salary on top of it. Poise Nigeria was to train her on etiquette, soft skill, social graces and communication. Another offer by Sujimoto Group, who wanted to be sure that she was equipped and educated for her new status. He also signed her up for adult education. Jumoke's face adorned billboards all across the country. She became a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration, and a prayer point of contact for the whole of Nigeria. Jumoke started hosting her own talk shows in Yoruba, getting international gigs and appearances. She traveled to South Africa twice for the Soweto fashion show. She got interviewed by CNN and became the most Googled person in Nigeria at the time. This lady's life changed overnight, literally, and the world could not wait to see the amazing wonder that OLAJUMOKE would make out of her newfound fame and popularity. But underneath the fame, the glitz and the glam, the lights, camera, action, Jumoke faced something monstrous at home. This abusive man, whom Jumoke had introduced to the world as her husband, had moved in with her at her furnished luxury apartment in Surulere, following her for events and enjoying the perks of limelight. To the public, he was this amazing man that was supporting his wife through her newfound path of fame. But behind closed doors, he was a beast. Not the same ill-tempered, violent man that he was in Osho State. He was even worse. Sunday had grown very envious and jealous of OLAJUMOKE's newfound popularity. He would suspect her on every single step that she took, and he would seize any opportunity he had to beat her to stupor. Sunday wasn't doing anything in Lagos. OLAJUMOKE was solely financially responsible for him. She would provide his physical needs, gratify his sexual needs, fan his ego and appease him, and try to convince him that these are the things that come with the kind of job that she has now. Despite his contribution was sleeping throughout the day and going out at night, gallivanting and coming home drunk, his contribution was to pounce on OLAJUMOKE and give her the beating of her life at any slight misunderstanding. If OLAJUMOKE comes back late from a photo shoot, he would accuse her of sleeping with a man. If OLAJUMOKE has to stay out for one reason or the other as someone who is in the entertainment business, he would link it to infidelity and being insubmissive. And despite how hard Jumoke tried to make him see reason, the physical assault and domestic violence only got worse. But OLAJUMOKE, in her usual fashion, kept it to herself. She didn't say a word about it to anyone, not even T.Y. Bello. She stayed quiet and endured the abuse. At some point, she got to her elastic limit and she couldn't take it anymore. She couldn't go out freely to do her business. He was stopping her, he was harassing her, he was over-interrogating her, questioning her, blocking her way. He was just in the path of her success. In addition to the physical, verbal, and emotional trauma, she decided that she was going to leave the second time But this time it was too late. This time she had something a whole lot more to lose. And Sunday realized that he was not going to let her go without a fight. He was going to ruin her. And so he did. Sunday took 2 interviews, one interview after the other, rubbishing the name and the brand of his wife, calling her rude, disrespectful, insubmissive. That ever since Jumoke became a star, oh my God, it got into her head. She doesn't regard him as the man of the house anymore. She disregards him. She doesn't go down, submit again. And you know Nigeria is a very patriarchal system. The best way to smear a woman's name and drag her in the mud is if you can attack her morality. Either you rubbish her virtuousness by saying that she is promiscuous, sexually promiscuity, or you say she's not a submissive woman. That way both male and female, young and old, will pounce on the woman. And that was exactly what happened. Olajumoke came under very serious attack, with too many people calling her out, saying, look at this one of yesterday. Just because you got small fame, checkera fame, the man that has been with you since when you were nobody, since when you were nothing, husband of your youth, father of your children, you have begun to feel too big. You have begun to disrespect him. You are beginning to feel like you don't need a man anymore. She came under very serious attack. She also claimed that she didn't have a manager that was up and doing, that didn't help to utilize her potential and manage her properly. And there it began. Slowly, steadily, but surely, her brand began to nosedive, began to diminish with every passing day. After a contract comes to an end, the brand will show no interest to renew. New brands were not coming. The media stopped talking about her. She couldn't be found on social media. The events invitation were no longer coming. She was fading. She was declining. The education they attempted to give her, she stopped it long ago. She said that going from Surulere to Lekki for the adult education was not feasible. It was too far. So she dropped out. The house that was given to her, the 5-year lease came to an end and she couldn't pay the rent. So she had to pack away and move to the slums deep inside Mowe at the outskirts of the city. There was no way to sustain herself. She had no money, no dime in her accounts, no savings, no investments. She could barely afford to feed. In fact, her saving grace was that Stanbic IBTC was taking care of her children's schooling till today. And T.Y. Bello was also caring for her, sending her money every now and then. You see what we spoke about in our last video with the Chicken Republic boys. You see why it is very good to be grateful to your benefactors. Just imagine if she had bitten the fingers that fed her when she was hot. She had to fall back to T.Y. Bello for handouts for her to be able to eat. Back to living in a bacha. She said that if not these little handouts from T.Y. Bello and Azuka and the scholarship her children were enjoying, she would have long returned to the bakery because she had hit below rock bottom. Jumoke's story is a very, very, very big lesson to all of us. It is a sad story of grass, grace, and then grass again. It is a story that clearly shows the repercussions of making ill-informed decisions. It is a story of how a bad marriage or a bad relationship can be the ruin of someone. It is a story of how fast one's fate can change for the better or for the worse. It is a story of how opportunity comes but once. It is a story that counters the widely spread claim that education is a scam, especially by our Gen Zs. Education is not a scam. It is an asset. It is a story that shows the importance of financial literacy, because getting wealth is a different ballgame from sustaining and keeping wealth. It is the sad story of OLAJUMOKE, aka Oni Bread. Jumoke is back on the screen, trying to make a comeback to stardom and limelight. Do you think that she should be supported back into celebrity life, or she should just stay away from that lifestyle that is not meant for her? Rather, use the help she gets to start up a business or something else. What word do you have for people, especially women, who keep letting their destiny destroyers back into their lives in the name of relationships or marriages? What have you learned from the story of OLAJUMOKE? Drop all your thoughts, your comments, your feelings down in the comment section. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. Don't forget to also join our Africa Folktale and History channel, where we tell beautiful Africa folktale and history in that way that we know that you love them. I'll leave the link to that down in the description box and pinned in the comment section. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.